What is going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to another episode of Swoop Luke. It's a bit of a weird episode. We will be dissecting this loss and the end of our 11 winning streak to the Swannies. So let's get into it. So on Sunday afternoon, Collingwood took on the Swannies at the SCG. And let me just get out this way first. The SCG is an absolutely horrible ground. I didn't go to the game, but it's an absolutely horrible ground to watch on the TV. It's proportioned really weird, so we couldn't, it's not an excuse, I'm just saying, we couldn't really get our run and carry game going, especially when you're playing there once a year. You don't really know what the hell is going on there, so a little bit weird. We have to kind of get used to that, because if we do versus Sydney in finals, they're going to probably play their 2 home games at the SCG. But in saying that, look, Collingwood, ended our the Swannies ended our 11-game winning streak, and let's just applaud 11-game winning streak. We won 6 games last year. We just won 6 games last year. Finished 17th on the ladder. We have won 15, 16 games this season. 11 of those in a row. I didn't give a stuff how we won them. We won 11 games in a row, including beating Melbourne twice, Carlton when they were on a roll, and Fremantle in Perth. Essendon when they had just won 3 games in a row. So that's just amazing. Let's just say that, get that right off the top of this video. That's an amazing effort by such an amazing team. But all good things must come to an end, and this is probably the loss that we needed, and it's here. We went into this game a little bit underdone. We know that there was 4 of our players, and 3 that played, Elliott, Carmichael, and John Noble, and I think it was Will Hoskin-Elliott as well. All were out with the flu for a couple of days at training. Craig McRae had a day off with the flu. So we got ravaged by the flu again, kind of like Richmond and the Western Bulldogs. That isn't an excuse. We played horribly in patches, but I'm just saying. And then Jordan De Goey was laid out with a hip flexor. I said in my preview that there was rumours, and I got sent something that it was confirmed that he was going to be out. So Trent Bianco stepped in, and Callum Brown came on as a medical sub. Throughout the game, we lost Jack Ginnivan with a tight hamstring. It looks like he won't play next week, according to Craig McRae. And Will Hoskin-Elliott possibly has a broken nose. I think the poor dude broke it twice. He ended up looking like Lord Voldemort, but sorry, he who must not be named. And I don't know. Would he play with a broken nose next week? That's crazy if he does. Good on him if he does. But you can kind of see that he was kind of pulling his punches in the last quarter and a half because of that. I would too, so I don't blame him. But injuries aside, the Swannies were just fantastic. The Swannies were absolutely, and I said in my preview as well, again, I think the Swannies probably go on and verse Geelong in the grand final if we don't somehow get up there. So they were just a fantastic team. Definitely came to the SCG to play. They beat us, I think it was plus 30 in contested possessions. Disposals, they smashed us in. Tackles, they were plus 22. Just all around the ground, the Swannies won, and we just couldn't pull. We have no more rabbits in our hat. But like I said, it was probably a loss that we needed. There's a lot to learn from this game. In my preview, I said that it was going to be a hard, fast game of football, and that's exactly what it was. It was fast. There were times when we were, running it down, running it through the middle, and there were times where the Swannies were doing that, bombing it long, like I said, and McDonald, Reed, Franklin, or whoever was down there were getting the marks. On our end, we just couldn't really get anything going. We had 15 shots from 52 inside 50s. We had a 29% conversion rate. That's, look, for lack of a better term, that's shithouse. And we pride ourselves on our pressure. That's how we've been winning 11 games in a row. 53 tackles to 72 tackles, 12 tackles inside 50 to 13 tackles inside 50. But they were just getting the ball out. Our forward pressure, even though we had 12 tackles inside 50, it was just non-existent. I said we would need to pressure the Swannies because they love to play that fast game and that keeping us off sort of game. We just weren't applying the pressure. I think they would have smashed us in uncontested possessions probably look, disposals 390 to 322. I can't find an uncontested possession stat here, but uncontested possessions 227 to 170. So they smashed us in that as well, because they were just finding ways on this narrow and long SCG ground to just chip it, and we just weren't manning up. We just weren't getting in our zones, whatever the hell you want to talk about properly. We just weren't going with them, and it was frustrating at a lot of times. But in saying that, there were patches where we did play good football. We were playing Collingwood brand football. It just unfortunately wasn't enough. Now, I could have come on this video and kicked up a fuss and be like, oh, this was crap, this. But it's weird, because we do let sport dictate how we're feeling for the week and the weekend. But I'm actually pretty unfazed about this loss. In my gut, I kind of knew that it was going to happen. But because 11 games in a row, Sydney are a really great team. We did keep up with them. We can just get better from them. I love that when we dissect this, like when the club dissects it, we are going to have lots of levels of improvement for next week's game against the Blues and then subsequent finals games. There was a couple of things that I did like though. I said in my preview that clearances were going to be a big key factor. We did lose clearances. We got, I think it was like, Swans were plus 15 to clearances, but we did well in our clearances, in our centre clearances. Stoppage clearances, they got on top of us, but our centre clearances, I think it was like 7 to 13. That was good. From not having to go, not having Taylor Adams, stoppage, it helps a little bit. We are missing a hard nut in the middle. That's why Braden Maynard started in the middle, but then we don't have a proper defender for Papley either. So it's just weighing up. It's just a double-edged sword. Whatever you do when you lose two big bulls like that. But look, there were a little bit of positives to take away from that. We kick a little bit straighter. We mark the ball a little bit more going inside 50. That goes a long way into winning this sort of game. Something that I really didn't like though, talking about marking the ball inside 50, is that we would just blaze away, kick it long. They would get the mark. No one would compete for the ball. Reminded me of 2021 Collingwood and 2020 Collingwood. So, which is not a good thing to remember. We weren't laying tackles properly. Like, we were tackling, but we weren't sticking tackles. Like, look, our highest tackler was 6, Will Hoskin-Elliott, and their highest tackler was 3 of their players had 8 tackles, which is crazy. Another thing as well was Nick Dacos was pretty much tagged by, I think it was Ryan Clark in that first quarter. Couldn't get into it. I think he had 4 touches and 3 of those were maybe kick-ins. Players have got to do better to help him out, because, look, 19 years old, he's just starting out, but he sets up a lot of our play and a lot of our run with his footy IQ. Couldn't get that going because of Ryan Clark, but again, another learning experience. I'm sure the midfield coach Bolton will have a chat to him throughout the week, and the guys in the back line of how they can help him out. Braden Maynard though played his heart out. He was the one that was in that last quarter. Even though, before I talk about Braden Maynard, I want to talk about one thing that I loved. Earlier in the year, Craig McRae says, I don't care if we're 60 points down or 60 points up, we are going to fight until the end. These last 11 games, especially the ones that we've won closely, we have been fighting right until the end. And yes, we had a shitty game today, right? At patches, pathetic. You can even chuck out. But far out. You can't knock this Collingwood team's fight and their belief, because they just kept going. They could have slowed down. They could have just, made this a 60-point Sydney win, but they just kept fighting. It was like, what I loved, you remember that last 40 seconds in the Collingwood-Essendon game, how could you forget, right? That was like frantic sort of go. It was like the last 2 minutes. And even like the Melbourne game sort of. So we played the last 10 to 15 minutes of that last quarter like it was the last minute and a half of the Collingwood-Essendon game, which is get the ball long, you just try everything. Craig McRae said pretty much, I can't remember exactly his words, but he pretty much said, I don't want this team to die wondering. If you want to hit that 45 and it comes across, good. At least you're trying to take the game on. And yeah, it might not work out most of the time, but you're trying to take the game on, you're trying to create opportunities. that's what Braden Maynard was doing. Shout outs to Josh Dacos. I think that was one of his best games that he's played. The stat sheet probably doesn't show it too much. Oh, not too bad. 7 clearances, 3 tackles, 25 disposals. I think he did pretty well. Scott Pendlebury, 9 clearances, did well as well. There was a couple of mistakes from Jeremy Howe, a couple of the defenders spoiling themselves and stuff like that. But like I said, this is the kind of loss that you want now before finals. Get these cobwebs out and learn from it, because it is going to be a big... How long's finals? 5-6 weeks. It's going to be absolutely huge. But anyway, guys, this has just been my quick review of the Collingwood-Sydney game. Buckle up. It is going to be a huge week when we take on the Blues. God damn, I've already got a headache thinking about it. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, Tay family, Tay friends, Tay pets. And until next time, double shackers. I'll see you later.